Breakdancing will become an official sport in the 2024 Paris Games.
This is Sunny Choi. She's competing in one of the world's most elite breakdancing competitions.
It takes a lot of grit to stick with it because it's so male dominated, and sometimes I feel invisible, yet at the same time I feel like everyone's staring at me.
Today we are speaking with Sunny Choi, Team USA's #1 female breaker, and I'm excited to chat with Sunny because, well, I'm discovering breakdance. I don't know about you, but for me it's a first. So I'm really looking forward to know the ins and the details about her sport and her as a woman, an athlete, and beyond.
Hi, Sunny.
Hello. Can you tell us a little bit more about your sport?
Breaking is it's so hard to describe. It's really high energy. It's people flying in the air, dancing, spinning, flipping, moving in ways you never thought that you could move. But the way the competition will work at the Olympics is it's gonna be 16 men, 16 women. And how the battle works is 2 people on the stage. One person will go out, do a round, and then the person will respond, the opponent, and they go about 30 seconds to a minute, and we go back and forth. You're not trying to like beat someone else in something by like X amount of feet or inches or millimeters. In breaking, it's a comparative system. They'll look at the 2 of us as we're dancing and then say, okay, well, this person is a little bit better in musicality, maybe the other person's vocabulary is a little bit better, so we'll push that fader. So there are these faders that compare the 2 dancers, and then that's how they figure out who wins.
I'm so excited to watch it in this summer's Olympics, but how did little Sunny, where you're like, yes, I want to do this?
Little Sunny didn't know about breaking. Little Sunny was a gymnast. I was a gymnast from when I was 3 till about 18, and then had some injuries and ended up quitting. So it was adult Sunny that decided that she wanted to break. I was walking around campus freshman year. There's some people dancing on campus, and I looked cool, so I was like, I'll go. They had a class, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go try it out. They were like, oh, like you were a gymnast, try this, and I was like back upside down on my hands, and I was like, this is where I want to be. So I got hooked because of the acrobatic elements of breaking, but what got me to stay was actually the creative element and kind of like exploring myself and who I am and how I express myself, how I express myself in front of people, how I interact with people within a community. Like all of that was really the reason I stayed.
We needed to hear this from the parents' perspective. So we sat down with Mr. and Mrs. Choi and asked them about the story from their perspective, starting with, what was your reaction when Sunny got into breaking?
I was shocked. She was one of the junior Olympians, so I hope that she could continue gymnastics.
I wasn't too excited either.
We both of us, we are 100% support of my daughter. I actually searched the internet about the breakdance. Also, I tried the basic kind of movement. I can spin myself 4 times, 6 times, but touching the ground and spin it, takes time.
What were you thinking when they said that they would introduce breaking to the Olympics? Because if I'm not mistaken, Paris is going to be the first edition of breaking, right?
For 30 years and more, it's something that's been done on street corners, at skate parks and on dance floors. But now it's official. Breaking is an Olympic sport.
So when they first announced it, I was just like, no way. It's not happening. Someone's lying. Like, someone got a rumor wrong. Somebody's like, no possible way. It's not like physically, it's like breaking didn't fit in as a sport. But it was just like, breaking has always been so decentralized in the street, and it's just like, how are we going to get together an international infrastructure in such a short period of time and like a whole circuit of events and then like create this qualifying path? And I was like, there's no way. And somehow we did it.
How do you juggle the level of like freedom with you as a gymnast who's like, no, these are the moves that I practice?
Yeah, it's been tough, and I feel like I'm always trying to find my balance, and that changes from day to day. And it changes a lot based off of like where I am mentally on the day. I go into some competitions, especially the local ones, completely just like I have no idea what's going to happen. At bigger events, again, it kind of depends on how I'm feeling. I might plan up to about 40% of the round. But again, it really kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Like if I'm feeling confident, and especially if I like the music, it's just like my plan just always goes out the window, and I'm like, here we go, I'm gonna go have fun.
How did you deconstruct everything? Like, did you do a specific mental work, or how did that work for you?
You can't separate anything, right? The mental goes with the physical, and I roller coaster a lot mentally. So I'm definitely working with the, team of psychologists. So I have one therapist. So I feel like in terms of my training, while I see different people for different parts. So like breaking, I don't have a coach, but I do have a coach for my strength part. And then I do have a massage therapist, and I do have my therapist. Even though I have different places and people that I go to for all these different elements, they all are working together. And like most of my team actually speaks to each other regularly to like, yeah, it's like Team Sunny.
What tips would you give to people who feel like they're on that roller coaster with you? So for going through those ups and downs.
It's really about like being along for the ride. You can't control it. And I feel like that's what I tried to do for so long. And being like, why can't I be happy? Why can't I train through this? Why am I wasting my time? Like there was all these like just piling on the guilt when I already wasn't feeling good. And it's like, why am I making my job so much harder? Nobody else is doing that to me. Everyone else is like, take a day off if you need it, because like I wouldn't have gotten here if I didn't have the work ethic needed. And then I think the last piece, and one of the really, really difficult ones for me, has been actually to prioritize rest and know that you do not need to earn rest. Rest is something that is part of the process, and you can't skip it. You shouldn't have to earn it, and everybody deserves it. And so one of the things that's actually really helped me that my therapist suggested was in between every single task that I do in the day, and I'm really bad at this actually, but I'm working on it. Between every single task in the day, take 10 seconds. If you're late for something, 10 seconds isn't going to make a difference, right? Yeah, I think that's been like another one that's really big for me to help me through this roller coaster of life.
I'm realizing that all athletes go through the same thing. We're all going like, I need some rest, but I don't know how to take rest. And then when we do, it's like, I'll take 4 months.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We're so burnt out that the second we stop, it's like we just can't get back up.
Yeah, it's nice to see also that we are all together in this and we're all trying to figure it out. And is that something that you'd like to maybe later share with some other people who'd like to get into breakdancing?
Yes, absolutely. So one of my really big things is I want to open like a dance center or a community center. I want to work with like the next generation, not just of like the high level breakers, but also the recreational breakers and the people from the community who just want to go and do it for fun, because breaking is just so much fun, and it's because you get to express yourself fully in a way that's so different from what we get to do in our everyday lives.
Sunny, you have had an incredible career so far, and I think it's just getting started. I know you've been to Worlds a couple times. I know you won a silver. I know in 2023, you won the first gold medal in breaking ever given at the Pan Am Games, and you were actually the first American woman to qualify for breaking in the Paris Olympics. And you're representing New York, which is a really big deal in the world of breaking. So what does this all mean to you?
I'm representing for New York City. This is where breaking started. Like that's it's pretty heavy. You can sometimes like people ask me like, is it a heavy burden? But I feel like it's more like, to me, it feels like an opportunity. Like I get to go and be like, this is a different side of New York breaking. Yeah, sure, I don't look like the most stereotypical New York breaker. At least maybe, outsiders might not know that, but New Yorkers would know. But I still get to represent a part of it by being there.
Sunny, you mentioned you're not the stereotypical breaker. What are some of the stereotypes you get?
Well, I'm Asian, so there's that. I'm also a woman, so that also makes, there are less women in breaking. It's very, very heavily male dominated. There's also the fact that I smile a lot. That's like problematic for some people. Because typically breakers are like more aggressive when they're battling. So I've been told for so long, like, you need to be more aggressive. But yeah, I feel like in so many ways, I'm like not the most typical breaker, but also that makes it kind of work at the same time, because breaking is very diverse and it is like accessible. You don't have to pay into it. You could just, most of the time it's community centers. People just show up and they practice and they learn from people there. So many people in my generation don't have teachers. So like, it's almost like all of these things that don't quite fit in actually kind of just show how diverse breaking actually is. And so in that way, it's like I fit in anyway.
Talk to us about your experience in breaking as a woman.
Whew, that's a tough question. It takes a lot of grit to stick with it, because it's so male dominated, and sometimes I feel invisible, yet at the same time I feel like everyone's staring at me. To be honest, like I struggled because a lot of other women were not very nice to each other in the beginning, and we didn't really uplift each other, but it was so small that it was almost territorial. But that sentiment has actually changed quite a lot in recent years, and I think women have really come together to build community and support each other. And so watching that happen over the years has been really, really beautiful. And so that's been kind of an amazing and really, really great shift in like the mentality of like women in the sport, knowing that we are a minority and knowing that by supporting each other, we're helping to uplift as opposed to putting each other down. So I think that that's obviously changed for women in the scene, but it's still, at a normal event, it's like, I would say like one woman to every 50 men or something like that. Like, sometimes it's going to be a little bit more, but it's still, there really aren't that many women in the break scene. It's definitely been challenging, but it's almost like the more challenging, the more rewarding. So there's also that.
Sunny, what do you want to say to all of the women who are competing in Paris this summer?
All the women that
all the women, the people you'll see there, the people who are going to come after you in the Paralympics.
Hi. One. But what would I want to say? I don't know. I think what everyone is doing is just so amazing, so incredible, so inspiring. With representation is just so important. I feel like having women there and the parity that they're going to have at these games is like just really amazing. I'm super excited about that. So yeah, keep doing what you do. I love it, and let's keep representing for the better half of the population.
It's clearly been a long journey for you to get here. Lots of roller coaster ups and downs. What would you say to your younger self given where you are today?
Right now, the advice I would give to my younger self is to trust your gut. I have this thing where I constantly overanalyze, over-rationalize. I'm super logical, and I'm constantly going with what I should be doing, what logically it's kind of like even the same as like choosing to go to an Ivy League school so that I knew that I would be like statistically more likely to be financially stable after my college years. And all these things that I did that I was just like so analytical about, but I never once stopped to listen to the Sunny inside that was looking for something different. Logical Sunny was like, you need to have a job because you need to buy a house and it's expensive, and you need to have kids. I had to do all these things and check all these boxes because that's how I'm going to be the perfect Sunny. But just like breaking, there is no perfect Sunny. It's about being happy. And so yeah, that's kind of the whole story behind me telling myself, just trust your gut.
My cheeks are hurting from smiling so much.
Me too.
That is so beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I feel like, you know, for things like this, I'm like super bubbly and happy, and you would never know, but, you know, we all have our struggles behind the scenes, but that's actually what I think makes me be so bubbly and so happy when I'm able to just kind of like be me and be free. So yeah, I hope you all feel that when you're watching me break, because I mean, that's how I feel when I'm dancing.
We'll feel it. We will. Sunny, thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate it. It's been an honor to meet you. We can't wait to support you in Paris.
Thank you. This is lovely.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning into Flame Bearers.
If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us along on social media for more behind-the-scenes exclusive content on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever social platform you are on. Thank you, and stay tuned for our upcoming episode.